Thursday Night Faceoff as we bring you week 6 of the hottest hockey from across the Northland. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alexis Bass.
And I am, of course, Alexis Beckett. It feels like forever. I literally haven't been able to sleep every night. That's not
It's been hard.
Wednesday.
I've definitely lost sleep. We've missed it so much.
Well, let's get to it then, since we missed it so much.
Let's do the hockey, Alexis Beckett. Well, we start with one that you may have caught live on our My 9 Sports Network. It's the 14-4 Rockridge Wolverines back in the Northland this week, taking on the just over 500 Denfeld Hunters. While a silent opening frame, the second would tell a different story. Corey Backstrom, weaving through a few defenders, takes a shot that is ripped over the net, but it's coming hot off the glass as Alex Oud is coming in hot to put away the rebound. And the first goal of the night, Hunters take the 1-0 lead. A few minutes later, the guys in green had something to say. Cass Carlson strolling in, shot his shot outside the net, but coming down the slot for the one-timers, Grady D'Ambero. First puck to get past Connor Doyle tonight, and we're all square at 1. Third period now, win a face-off, score a goal. Maybe, well, Cass Carlson says so. What a sniper from the circle, and Rockridge robs the 2-1 lead with 10 minutes to go. What do you know, Rockridge holds on and is headed home with the 2-1 victory over the Hunters.
And Heritage is also home ice for Duluth East, of course, looking for their second win in a row as they welcome the Hawkins Royals from Minnetonka into town. We start with the Greyhounds' very first shift. Senior Noah Tank throws the puck across the ice to defenseman Brody Olson, who unloads a rocket just 23 seconds in, and it's 1-0 Greyhounds. Then a few minutes later, Thomas Gunderson is sprung on a breakaway, but Royals goalie Isaac Winkler is there to make the blockers stop. And speaking of breakaways, Garrett Olick with the sauce to pass to Stratton Moss, who roofs it top shelf where Bass keeps her gluten-free snacks. Greyhounds double it up 2-0. That was me, thank you. Then just 2 minutes later, Christian Hauser's shot goes wide, but the Greyhounds are able to set up the backdoor snipe. It's Noah Tang with his second point of the night. Duluth East goalie Drew Rocker gets the shutout as the Greyhounds would add 4 more goals in this one to take in dominant fashion 7-0.
Well, apparently, if you didn't know, this is where you also take shots at your coworkers. But hey, 2 games in the books. We can't wait for number 3 without the third member of this sports team. Should we bring him in?
That's right. It's time for Dan the Man.
Game of the night. What you got?
Thank you, Team Alexis. We'll now take a trip up the hill to Mars Arena, where one of my favorite teams in the Northland, the Marshall Hilltoppers girls hockey team, was back on home ice after suffering only their second loss of the year on Tuesday. And tonight, they welcome the Moose Lake Rebels into town. And the Hilltoppers had some special guests with them pregame. Shout out to that girl in the Panther sweater. I see you, as the Rebels and their USA jerseys hit the ice ready to go. We pick it up in the first period. Ilsa Lindemann moves in close with a scoring chance. And honestly, guys, I thought the puck was still under the goalie. So my apologies to Sarah Stauber as she snipes one short side with Lindemann still in the crease. Hilltoppers race out to the 1-0 lead. But the Rebels would answer quick. Loose puck slowly moves through that crease and right to the stick of senior Megan Hattenberger. She lifts it over the glove to tie us up at 1. And then we jump to the second period where Eva Edder's shot bounces off a skate and right to the tape of Nina Thorson, but her snipe goes right into the glove of Mallory Hartle. She flashes that leather to keep us tied. But Marshall wouldn't quit. Thorson keeps the puck in with a beautiful give and go between her and Lindemann that ends up in the back of the net. A beautiful setup and goal. Marshall grabs the 2-1 lead, and that would end up being the game winner. So Marshall wins their 18th game of the season over the Rebels, 2-1.
And now a recap from Tuesday where 10th ranked Proctor Royals say hello to the Elite Timberwolves. Both teams seeking a win, lucky number 13. So who would get it? This one started earlier than normal, so we catch the boys on the ice later than normal. Second period, Tanner Ross skating through traffic, taking his time until Cooper Johnson walks in for the one-timer off the centering feed from Ross, and the Royals lead the second period up 8-1. No big deal.
No biggie.
Third period in a running clock now. Wyatt Meinheim is just going to take this one blue line to blue line, but Lewis Powell wouldn't allow that one to get through, so we're still at 8-1. A little later now, Ross from the face-off zone, and it's Meinheim who puts away the final goal of the night. But you would never know. The Royals just stay cruising and scoring as they earn their 13th win of the year, 9-1.
And we run it back from Tuesday. Number 13 ranked Lumberjacks trying to stop their 3-game slide while the Wolverines are looking for win number 15. And there is no love lost when these two teams meet, Preston Strang laying the lumber early. We start in the first. Lumberjacks' Bobby Thornton works his way into shooting position, but Wolverines' Ryan Rothberg stands tall to make the save. Then on a Lumberjacks power play, puck is turned over, and Wolverines' Cass Carlson, you heard his name tonight, moves in with speed. Great assist from Grady Dembero as Carlson scores a shorty. Rockridge grabs the 1-0 lead. That's lines rolling right there, but the Lumberjacks still had the man advantage. Senior Jay Stewart just lets it fly from the point and scores past a screened Rothberg just 39 seconds later, and we're all tied up at 1. Then with under a minute to go in the first, senior Joey Ananuti with some backhand sauce over to Stewart, who snipes home his second of the period, giving the Lumberjacks the 2-1 lead at the intermission. They would keep the lead through the rest to walk away with the 4-1 lead over Rockridge. Well, the state of hockey never fails to impress, which, speaking of, if you need weekend plans, Hockey Day Minnesota is here this weekend in Roar Road. But if you want to stay local, right here, locked here, which I don't blame you, there's plenty of things to do around here because Bulldogs, Beckett,
That's
back
right.
home.
World might have the better jerseys this time, but that's okay. Always an undefeated experience at AMSOIL. No better place to be because that's where we'll spend 24 hours total. So stay locked right here on Thursday Night Faceoff.